What's the first thing that you think of when you think of oils? For most, I'd say it's cooking. But then there's aromatherapy for the healing ailments. Actually, there are so many different ways you can use oils that we don't even have time to cover it all in today's show. So I'm going to share with you some of my favorite off the beaten path tips and tricks that will help us explore this amazing world of oils and how they can be applied. For those of us who enjoy cooking, we know that one of the most essential ingredients in the kitchen are the oils, and there's so many of them to choose from. But which oil do you use with which and why? Well, my friend and chef Alexis Jones is here to help us sort that out. Hi, Alexis.
Aaron.
Welcome to the garden.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
You finding some peppers?
Oh, they're beautiful.
So are you going to use some of these peppers to help us unravel the great mysteries of oils?
Yes. I mean, I love these peppers raw, but when you cook them, there's so much more flavor that comes on.
Yeah,
so.
there's so many ways to cook them.
Right.
Saute or roast them. Yeah. Excellent. Well, I can't wait to see what you come up with.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's always creative and informative. Thank you.
Thank you. There are many different oils with different uses, and we're going to go over a couple of my favorite. We're going to start with olive oil and extra virgin olive oil. They're the most known of the oils, and they derive from a fruit. This is the extra virgin. It is the highest quality of olive oil, and it's been pressed. And then this is pure olive oil. So I usually do equal parts, and we're just going to do a quick French dressing, French vinaigrette. So I have equal parts olive oil, and I've got some grainy mustard that I'm going to use to emulsify with. And we're just going to add some shallots to here and a little bit of lemon for some acidity and to brighten it up. The next kind of oil we're going to talk about is cooking oils. So one thing to consider when cooking with oil is the smoke content and the flavor it'll add to your food. First, we have peanut oil, which is great for frying. It has a very high smoke content, which means that the oil will break down at a higher temperature. And my favorite to use for sauteing is grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil is very versatile, and it doesn't really impart any flavor on your cooking. The most important thing with sauteing is to make sure that your pan is hot first, because your oil will burn before your pan is hot. So we've got a hot pan, and then in with our peppers. So you don't want to crowd your pan while sauteing, and try and get your knife cuts more even so that they cook at the same time. Gonna let that go. You've probably seen nut oils in the grocery store and not sure what to use them for. I have some pecans here and pecan oil, and I like to use these for dressings or marinades, but most importantly, when you're toasting pecans or other nuts, it's good to use the same oil to add to the flavor of it. So we have some toasted pecans. I'm just gonna toss them. And we also have coconut oil. Coconut oil has become a very popular oil, and it's got some healthy attributes. It can help you eat less, and it can be used as is, and it can also be used in healthy beauty regimens. It also has this high smoke point, so it can be cooked in frying and sauteing as well. It's very versatile. There are many different oils to choose from with different uses for each one, so just choose yours accordingly.
Today we're in Hot Springs, Arkansas at our store, Evilo Oil and Vinegars. And what we do here is we do everything from oils and wine vinegars, not the traditional like distilled vinegars. You know, these you can come in and get anything from habanero oil or bacon flavored olive oil. But we do all cooking related oils and vinegars. Most are going to be your fine extra virgin oils. Today we're going to start with our garlic and mushroom olive oil. These are our fusties that we can keep the oil contained in while it's in the store. And so when you pour your oil, you're first looking at the consistency of it. Good oil is not going to have any specks or impurities. And then after that, you want to take it and warm it up with your body heat in your hand for a few swirls, letting it heat up and release the aromas, and that gives you the chance to smell, and you can smell the flavors that the oil contains. And at that point in time, it's very similar to wine and like a sip, so that you get, or slurp, so that you're getting a little bit of air in there with it, and that opens up your palate even more to allow the taste to come through. And then a swirl, and there it is. The next one is our chipotle olive oil, and that is going to give you that nice Tex-Mex spice with a little kick to it. You'll notice right off the bat that this one's going to have a much deeper, almost a red consistency compared to the other that we just tried, and that is due to the flavorings that are involved. So again, a swirl, a smell, and a sip. Olive oil has been around as a commodity for over 6,000 years. Started, I think, back in like 4500 BC. That was when there was first signs of people refining the oils down for cooking and for religious aspects. But olive oils, you want to get them usually at what they call the first cutting. That is before they've settled and anything is broken down. Olive oil is a great cooking oil as far as skillet frying, salads. You can even use it in baking. We do quite a bit of baking with our olive oil. It doesn't like to be overheated, so you want to, when you're cooking with the oil, you want to keep it around the realm of 300 degrees and below. They say 400, but when you get to 400, you will start to taste it bitter up. Every morning, our workers come and set up some of our either favorites that they've done or favorites that customers have blended, and we have a sampling station here. Customers can come and sample different oils, smell their flavors, taste them. We have bread for the people that aren't die-hard olive oil folks like myself that don't want to chug olive oil, so they can dip in bread and get the true flavor before they purchase. So it's a fun time, and a lot of people leave not needing to eat lunch. I hope they leave with olive oils, of course, but I hope they leave with a better understanding of the product.
Since ancient times and even up to today, olive oil has been a product in high demand. There's so many variations of quality in olive oil. It's not hard to see why it's so desirable when you realize it can be used for so many things. Just check it out.
Well, I'm Becky Coffey, and I'm the owner of Main Street Apothecary. And we like to use local ingredients that you find in your garden and infuse the oils with that and make some soap, great lotions, and some salves. In our soaps, we use a lot of the infused olive oils. We can use infused olive oils with lavender, and we can use the plantain, violet, and calendula. I grow those three things here. So you harvest your plants and you dehydrate them. You put them in your olive oil and let it sit for 4 to 6 weeks, and then you've got a great product to make soaps with. When you're making soap, you really need to pay attention to the safety of it, because lye is a very volatile reaction. So we have the lye already mixed up, and they're about the same temperature. So we're going to pour in this Wonderful olive oil. Blend that real good. We need our stick blender. We do live in the middle of the woods, and you're always getting little scratches and scrapes. And you use these soaps and the lotion and the healing salve, and it really does cure it so much quicker. We have our essential oils over here, and some kaolin clay and some French green clay. We're just gonna add that in there. And these are crystal menthol. We were looking at the ingredients on lotion, and the second ingredient, which means there's a lot of it in there, was liquid petroleum. So you have an oil product that you're just slathering all over your body. And so I think there's a better way. We just pour it into this mold, cover it, and we will let it sit there for about 24 hours. Okay, this soap has been sitting about 24 hours, so we are going to unmold it. After we unmold it, that's when I just start cutting it, and I just have to do it this old-fashioned way with a ruler. Old-timey way of doing it. That's it. Beautiful triple infused olive oil soap. So if you can be putting olive oil and coconut oil on your body instead of oil, petroleum oil, that's a good thing.
When you hear the word herb, what do you think? Well, I immediately think of cooking, something that's culinary based. But you know, there are other uses around the home which are pretty cool. For instance, one of the things I like to do with herbs is use the fragrance of them through the stems to create olive oil candles. They're natural, they're easy, and they can really bring the wow factor to your home, or particularly if you're having a little dinner party. Now, the list for the materials to create some of these olive oil candles is really quite short. Obviously, you need a jar. I'm using some mason jars. They're readily available, but you can use any sort of glass jar. Next, you're going to need some wicks, which you can pick up at a craft store, and you'll need a thin gauged wire, which will be the support mechanism for the wick itself. And of course, you'll need the fuel for the flame. I recommend the least expensive olive oil you can find for this project. Oh yes, last but not least, the herb of your choice. In this case, I'm using one of my favorites, which is plentiful around my garden, rosemary. And of course, the other addition that you can bring to this project is the aroma. One of the best ways to do this is to simply allow your dried or fresh herbs to soak in the oil for at least a week before using. And another little secret that I've learned over the years is to slightly break up or macerate the leaves of your herb like this, and that will help release some of those essential oils once you drop it down into the olive oil. So whether you're using lavender or lemon thyme, this will work. And choose fragrances that you really enjoy. The first thing you want to do is wrap the end of your wire around the wick. You want to do this tightly enough that it doesn't fall out, but you want to keep it loose enough that you can adjust the wick if you need to. You can either bend the wire so that it hooks on the side of the jar to hold the wick in the center of the jar, or wrap it around the lip on the outside. So you can get rather expressive with the way in which you use the wire that actually holds the wick in place. The idea here is just have some fun and get creative. So with my wick in place, supported by the wire, I'm ready to add my olive oil. Now, I'm just going to pour this in and bring it almost to the top of the jar. And then what I'll do is I'll begin to apply the herbs of my choice. So I've taken little stems of the rosemary. I'm just going to float those in and fill them in however I'd like to arrange it. I can clip off the wick if it's too long. This is just a little bit long there. Okay, now this one is ready to light. You can see how easy these are to make. Really simple and fun. So think about making some of these the next time you're having a festive occasion, or just having a few friends come over. Give it a try and put your own spin on it. Who doesn't love sunflowers? They're just so bright and cheerful, just downright perky. Beautiful to use in the house. But what a useful plant. You think about all the things that one can produce from sunflowers. I love sunflower seeds. I love to eat them. And then, if you cold press them, you can make a healthy cooking oil. In fact, we visited the Wayne plantation right here in Arkansas and saw them making oil firsthand.
I'm Bob Wayne, and this is the Wayne Plantation. I'm fourth generation owner, and I grow a food grade oil using sunflowers. Well, sunflowers are indigenous of North America. They've been around, ever since long before the Indians were here. The settlers, as they moved in, in the early 1700s, they took these sunflowers back to the European countries and they got spread across there, but they are home here in North America. There are about 60 varieties of sunflowers. 3 varieties are oil producing, and that's what we grow here, is an oil producing sunflower. This particular variety is New Sun. Sunflower oil is a cooking oil. It's used for various things, obviously as if you want to do stir fry or fry your eggs. Mainly it's used as a salad oil, a carrier oil for salad dressings. Very, very good and very healthy. Probably the best use of it is as a baking oil. Sunflower oil is more viscous. As you go through some of your recipes, you can actually use less oil. Obviously sunflowers, if you've ever eaten sunflowers as a kid, they've got a nutty smell and taste to it. This oil, since it's an all natural oil, will smell and taste just like what you ate as a kid. It's not a refined oil. These are the ray flowers on the outside. And then as you look at the inside of the plant, these are the disc florets. That's what that whole head is called there. As you get closer to it, those are what are called corolla tubes. That's actually where the seed's being developed. Here in about another 6 to 8 weeks, like I said, we're mid-season right now. Of course, the flower will begin to die, the seed will begin to develop, and the weight on the heads of these plants will get so heavy, they'll droop completely over, and then they start to die out. And like I said, in about 8 weeks, we'll harvest the plant, and really, they're so gorgeous right now, they're really going to be ugly here in about 5 or 6 weeks. As I looked at the profiles of the oil, how healthy it is, I started comparing it to the canolas and the olive oils. And the sunflower has about twice the amount of vitamin E as canola or olive. It's got a real healthy balance of the monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, better than anything that I've seen so far. And I'm still doing research on it, but it's a very healthy seed, a very healthy oil.
When I go to a garden center, I'm often distracted, particularly when it comes to fragrant herbs like lavender. I kind of get into this scratch and sniff mode, smelling these amazing aromas. Look at this lavender, look at the gorgeous blooms on it. The blooms are pretty, but for me, it's the touching the leaves and getting that clean, beautiful aroma that makes it so special. Such a wonderful plant that you want to have in your garden. And it's because of the essential oils that are in the stems, well, in every part of the plant that gives it that aroma. Now, I gotta admit, I struggle with growing lavender because it really likes a sandy soil, an alkaline soil that's a little sweeter than what I have. I have clay and I have acidic soil, so it's not a very good match. If I plant them in the garden, they tend to suffocate. The roots don't get enough air. But if I plant these little plants in a container with a conventional potting soil with a little touch of lime to sweeten it, they do really, really well. And I don't fertilize them too much because what happens is you lose some of the, I guess, the potency of that essential oil. They go sort of all foliage and green, and there's not as much of a concentration of oils in the leaves and stems. I always place my containers of lavender in full sun. It's an herb that really likes the sunshine, so keep that in mind. If you love the fragrance from the essential oils of a plant like lavender, give it a try. I guess the thing to keep in mind is if there's some reason you can't grow a certain plant, there's always some ways around it. And I've just given you a few of the tips on how I get around being able to grow this, one of my favorite herbs, lavender. You know, I just love the fragrance of lavender, and it's perfect in a lavender oil room spray. You can make a room smell fantastic. You know, really, when it comes down to it, there's an oil for just about anything. So why not use these oils in a more creative way? Don't just relegate them to the kitchen for culinary uses. Until next time, I'm Alan Smith. To learn more, we visited the tasting room of Evil O in Hot Springs. Welcome. Alcohol is world domination.
And with our peppers. Oh, that should have been high. Yeah. Can I do that again?